Well, I thought I'd try recording with a different microphone. I'm still struggling with volume, but perhaps this will work. Um, I haven't got my tripod, so this is going to be handheld. I've made a few videos recently and they've been out of order, I think. They've been not out of order, but published out of order. So that's just to create a bit of confusion, I suppose. I'm pretty new at this stuff. And the subject that I'm going to speak about, they come into my mind, and then maybe I'll go and correct something and remake a video. And so it ends up being, I think, is better to say out of sequence than out of order, because out of order has that other meaning, doesn't it? And I hope these videos aren't classified as being out of order in that way. Of course, we're told that there's a great um, wave of oppression occurring in Britain at the moment, and you're not really going to be allowed to say things that are slightly contentious or that disagree with the mainstream narrative. Well, I can't do anything about that. I mean, I don't speak against any particular group at all. I'm just trying to clarify principles. But um, if there is to be censorship, then there will be censorship, I suppose. I don't think there's anything wrong with censorship on private platforms. They can censor what they want to. Otherwise, I'd have to have my own system and everything, and that's impossible. So that's fine, as long as it's just censorship. If I end up getting into trouble, then that would be really a different matter, because I don't think I've done anything wrong. But who can say? And the current program in Britain that people are talking about, riots and various social movements and disorder and what have you. I think it's important to remember when reading about these accounts that they are accounts and they're mostly in the news. And the news isn't the truth. I mean, you might say, well, they try to portray the truth, and some people believe that. But I don't. I think that the intention is just to build a narrative, and anything will be done to do that. To somehow to incite people to create this conflict, because through conflict, then rule can be imposed. Without conflict, it cannot. So clearly, a spontaneous event can be made to seem spontaneous, but it may be simply a matter of theatre or deliberate provocation to make a scene and to have actors coming in and building it up. When you think about it, if you're walking down the road and you hear shouting and you see perhaps police vans and a fair amount of confusion, I think most people would turn around and take a different street, because you know what it's going to be like. It's going to be a hassle, whatever it is. And so you would tend to walk away from it. Now, the idea of grassroots movements is really an idea more than anything else. That people would just join in because others are doing it. I mean, that sort of thing, I think, might happen after a football match when you've got a large crowd of people inebriated, possibly, and intent on some kind of destruction. I don't think it would be much more than destruction. But in the normal course of events, I don't think those things happen spontaneously. Somebody, the podcaster I used to listen to, or a videographer, well, I suppose there's more than one. They used to call the grassroots movement AstroTurf movements. That there was an artificial aspect to them. It wasn't really grass, in the sense it wasn't a spontaneous thing. It was somehow constructed like AstroTurf. And it's been my conviction since understanding these things that that's what grassroots movements are. They have to be sold as grassroots movement and presented as grassroots movement to imply that there's no measure of control, but of course they are all carefully controlled. That'd be my understanding. I suppose that's, against the main interpretation, but, I'm just giving my opinion. I can't prove any of this, and I wouldn't attempt to. What do I know? I'm just making observations here. I'm not even pointing fingers particularly, because who knows who's in control of such things. So I hope this microphone works a bit better and my ramblings are clearer. Another thing I thought I ought to do is to explain what I mean by an attention trap, because I started using that phrase quite a bit, and I don't know whether, I'm not sure whether I got it from Castaneda or whether I just pieced it together and made it up. Either is possible, probably the former. I mean that there's things that our attention becomes hooked on events and on theories and on ideas, and it can't free itself. It's like walking through brambles, I suppose, and you end up hooked on one, and really you can't go any further or get away until you've somehow managed to get it out of your clothing or out of your hair or wherever it might be. And sometimes that can be quite difficult, because brambles are very, very prickly, of course. It's as though our attention is similar to that. And